Welcome to a country plagued by poverty, where a stunning palace stands in stark contrast to its surroundings. Today, this palace has the haunting scars of a tragic past, serving as a somber reminder of the 300,000 lives lost within its walls. As we explore this eerie space, you'll notice the walls are adorned with chilling remnants, skulls, bloodstains, and haunting signs of struggle, a grim testament to the tools of torture that once reigned terror here. These walls hold a dark history, where Idi Amin brutally tortured his pregnant fourth wife, cutting off her hands, sewing them onto her legs, then cutting off her legs and attaching them in place of her hands. This same man would spend hours conversing with dead bodies, hanging out with them, even lying down beside them. Despite these heinous acts, the people of Uganda kept him in power for a long time, although he was deeply hated. But what's the reason behind this? Despite the countless lives he took and the horrific acts he committed, it's baffling why people still held a soft spot for this president. His story unfolds between 1924 and 1925, when he was born into the small Kakwa tribe in northern Uganda. At that time, Uganda, like other countries, was subjected to British violence and slavery. The Kakwa people had a reputation for being fierce. They were deeply connected to nature and often performed rituals involving human or animal blood. Growing up surrounded by these practices, Idi Amin became desensitized to the idea that drinking blood after taking a life was just a normal part of life. After his parents split, his mom moved to Bombo, Uganda with him, but she was struggling financially and couldn't afford to give him a full education, so Idi Amin had to drop out in the 4th grade and take on odd jobs to support the family. Eventually, around 20 or 21, he enlisted in the British military, starting as an assistant cook. Now, the British had a specific type in mind, a tall, uneducated, local language speaking soldier who'd follow orders without question, and Idi Amin fit the bill perfectly. He received training in military boxing, swimming, and rugby from the British, helping them maintain control over Africa. He became so valuable to the British that he started killing his own people on their behalf. During the Mau Mau uprising from 1952 to 1960, Idi Amin fought alongside the British in Kenya and Somalia. His brutality was notorious, with reports of burying enemy soldiers alive or killing them in gruesome ways that terrified people into submission. This caught the attention of the British, who took notice of his ruthlessness. His military rank kept rising, and by 1962 he'd become the highest ranking officer in the British Army. During his time in the British military, he befriended Milton Obote, another high-ranking officer. Their friendship grew so strong that they started smuggling gold and coffee right under the British authorities' noses. This period also marked the beginning of Idi Amin's abuse of power, as he started targeting Ugandans who dared to speak out against him. Unfortunately, these actions flew under the British radar for a while, and by the time they finally took notice, it was sadly too late. Uganda's independence was just around the corner. Even if the British officers had taken action against him, it wouldn't have made a significant difference, as the British were losing their grip on power, and if his own people had tried to hold him accountable. There was no other leader capable of taking the reins at that time, so on October 9th, 1962, Uganda gained independence and Milton Obote became Prime Minister. As Commander-in-Chief of all armed forces, he was expected to maintain control and stability. Initially, Obote and Amin were friends and colleagues working on the same level, but as positions of power and wealth became more coveted, their friendship turned sour. The conflict escalated to the point where Amin started building an entire army to take down Obote, ready to fight and potentially kill him. When Obote caught wind of this, he demoted Amin's rank, stripping him of his authority, reducing him from Commander-in-Chief of all armed forces to just Commander of the army. Amin was furious, and now he wanted only two things: Obote's death and his own rise to power. However, Amin didn't make his move directly. Instead, he took a more strategic approach, mingling with the people, dancing with them, listening to their problems, and solving them. This tactic made him incredibly popular, and the people began to trust him. He continued this charm offensive for a long time, patiently biding his time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, the moment he had always been hoping for: Obote's downfall. On January 25th, 1971, while the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting was underway in Singapore, Amin saw his chance and declared himself president. By then, his army had a tight grip on Uganda, and his image as a caring soldier had won over the people's trust. This goodwill helped propel Amin to power, ushering in a new era in Ugandan history. As soon as he took the reins, Amin outlawed all opposition and sent a chilling message across Uganda: anyone still loyal to Obote would be killed on the spot if caught by the new regime. After consolidating power, Idi Amin formed a secret death squad answerable only to him. Their sole purpose was to eliminate anyone suspected of plotting against Amin or loyal to Obote. They wielded so much power that they'd annihilate entire tribes based on mere suspicion. Tragically, the Akoli and Lango tribes fell victim to this brutality, slaughtered simply because they might have supported Obote. Amidst this chaos, a bizarre incident occurred. In 1972, Amin claimed to have had a dream in which God allegedly ordered him to expel all Asians from Uganda. Whether Amin genuinely had this dream or fabricated it for public consumption remains a mystery known only to him. But upon waking, he made a shocking announcement to the entire nation. Amin ordered the expulsion of all Asians from Uganda at a time when they dominated the economy, running 60% of the country's businesses and trade. Amin feared these Asian entrepreneurs might eventually threaten his rule or take opportunities meant for Ugandans. So the army started seizing their properties. Those who refused to leave were dragged to Amin's concentration camps, while others who hesitated were either slaughtered or, in some gruesome cases, fed alive to crocodiles. Amin's brutality reached new heights, with reports suggesting he threw 4,000 living people into crocodile-infested waters. The killings escalated into a full-blown genocide, targeting both Asians and local Ugandan tribes who faced unspeakable torture to ensure maximum suffering. Amin built 5 torture chambers within his palace compound. These windowless, ventilation-free rooms had electrified doors, guaranteeing electrocution to anyone who touched them. His men would blindfold victims, lead them into these chambers, and lock the doors. The screams and desperate attempts to break free would echo until silence fell. Only then would Amin order the doors opened, and the lifeless bodies would be fed to the crocodiles. Amin's cruelty knew no bounds, as he would often flood the torture chambers with water and electrify it, electrocuting everyone inside. His admiration for Hitler was well known, and he reportedly said, "If Hitler could do all this, why can't I?" embracing the Nazi leader's brutal ideology. Amin would sometimes convert his chambers into makeshift gas chambers, packing them with people and unleashing poisonous gases. The victims would suffer agonizing deaths. It's estimated that over 500,000 people lost their lives in these torture chambers, a staggering toll of human suffering. Amin's macabre behavior extended to his private room, where he would often take the bodies of his victims, spending hours with them or even sleeping beside them. This room was shrouded in secrecy, off limits to everyone. The truth about what Amin did there remained hidden, until his 5th wife stumbled upon the horrific scene. She discovered 2 severed heads stored in large freezers and numerous corpses, some with missing body parts including lips, limbs, noses, and genitals. This gruesome discovery revealed a dark aspect of Amin's psyche, a troubling glimpse into his twisted mentality, a secret that would haunt his wife forever. Publicly, Amin was hailed as the man of the people, but as the gruesome stories began to surface, his true nature slowly unraveled, revealing a shocking contrast. In a chilling interview, he even claimed that human meat was more tender than leopard meat. His personal doctor had diagnosed him with mental health conditions like hypomania and psychosis, but Amin refused to acknowledge it. As time passed, his madness intensified, plunging Uganda into chaos. Ultimately, he was overthrown and fled to Libya, then Saudi Arabia, where he died of organ failure on August 16, 2003. So what do you think about Idi Amin's story? I mean, some people actually thought he was a hero, while others saw him as a total monster. Where do you fall on that spectrum? If you studied his history, do you think he was a net positive or a total disaster for Uganda? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if this video opened your eyes to some new stuff, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Oh, and don't forget to ring that bell so you don't miss out on my next video.